Hey everyone, this is Gary with Easy Go Junk Removal, and I've got a fantastic guest here. He needs actually zero introduction, in my opinion. He's everywhere and everywhere. Andrew, you want to introduce yourself, please, sir?
Yeah, I guess since this is going to the junk removal community, I guess I should start by telling people what I'm known for. So, my name's Andrew Thompson. I'm originally a software engineer who fell into the junk removal world. And we'll probably dive into that a little bit later. But I am known for on YouTube being the guy who scaled my junk removal business to one over 1 million in gross sales. We'll talk about gross versus profit later, but I was very profitable. But I did spend a lot of money on Google Ads. I spent $250,000 on Google Ads my first year and cracked 1 million. I did 1.1 million. And by the way, Gary, just for your audience, I use 1 year for clickbait. Technically, it was 14 months. Technically, so my first year, it was actually like 900 something. And then so it was something like that. I forget the exact one, but I cracked 1 million in my first year, 14 months, using strictly Google Ads. My second year, I did it again. And then I decided to transition back to software, sold my junk removal company for 250,000 at only 2 years old. And selling a business at 2 years old is very hard because a lot of buyers are skeptical. Why are you selling so young? What's going on? You're making $1 million a year. Why are you trying to get rid of it? So that's my story. And I shared my journey on YouTube of how I did scaled Google Ads. And over the course of my entire 2 years and 4 months of running my junk removal business and selling it, I spent over $500,000 on Google Ads and about a little over 500,000 on Google Ads and Google local service ads, but I brought in 2.2 million.
Wow. What was your ratio, profit to spending and all that? What they like to, I guess, COGS, I guess is what
Yeah.
they like to call
So I'll just tell you what I filed on my tax returns, what I made,
it.
right? Everybody lies on their tax returns, but I didn't lie on my tax returns because I knew I wanted to sell the business. The first year I did $208,000 out the door after everything. I took 208, the company made 208. I paid myself the entire 208,000. So that year I made 208,000. The second year was 190,000, but there was other expenses. I made 200,000, call it 200,000 each year. And then at the end of the year, I sold it for 250,000. So that was a good year. I made 200 grand from junk removal. Then I sold it for 250,000. So I made $450,000. Technically, it was 225. Sorry, I should just correct myself. It's not 250,000. It's 225,000. So the second year, I made $425,000 because I
That's
sold the company.
interesting because then you have to pay capital gains and then you have to pay taxes and all that good stuff. And it's
Yeah,
not as much as you think it is when
it's
it's all
yeah.
said and
So
done.
and that's something that everybody needs to keep in mind, guys. When you hear, and this is me too, Gary, make $1,000 a day. Matt and JoJo have how I made $500 a day, $1,000 a day. Keep in mind that's gross. Then you take from gross, you take the profit, and then after profit, you still got to pay Uncle Sam. So it's one of those things.
And he's non-negotiable. And I'll tell you, this is one of, and it doesn't matter if it's junk removal, Andrew, or if it's window washing. It doesn't matter. You don't pay your quarterlies or make that effort, you get penalized. There's little forgiveness out there when you just ignore the big white elephant in the room, and that is taxes. You want to make that thing, and the safe bet is 25% when you're all said
Mm-hmm.
and done.
And I have a story on taxes. I don't know if we're. How long did you schedule this interview
We'll
to be?
we'll schedule it as long as you have air in your lungs. And
Air in my lungs. Shit. Okay. No, but I have a story about taxes. When I was a young kid, 18, I shared this on Facebook. You may not know this, but I dropped out of high school and I made a year later $2.1 million. I shared the video on, I was a young kid who came out of high school, built a website for MySpace. It blew up and I made $2.1 million by the age of
wait,
19.
wait, wait. Did you say MySpace?
MySpace. Yeah, well, we're talking 20 years ago, man. We're talking 20
I'm
years. Tom was everybody's friend.
I'm
So
telling you, man.
let's just say this so we don't go in too much of a tangent and a
Sure.
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I made $2.1 million from my MySpace website, teaching people how to customize their MySpace profile. And let's just say they were Google ads and Yahoo ads and all these other advertising companies, and you put ads on your website. I kid you not, Gary. You're a contractor. for Google. When you make all this ad revenue because you know people are clicking your ads, you are a 1099 I was a 1099 contractor. So what do you know what that means? You know what that means? They
Yep.
sent me my check. 180 grand was my first check with no taxes taken out. So can you imagine what an 18, 17, 18, 19-year-old kid did with a $200,000 check? Do you think I put 25% aside?
You still got
No.
that Lamborghini?
So let's just say 20 years ago, I learned what the tax man can do to you. So we don't need to, we'll leave it at that. Pay your taxes or they will come get you. Even if it's not a year later, they will come get you 5, 7 years later and they will put a lien on everything. They will destroy your credit and they will garnish your wages.
If you have anything in the bank, they'll suck that out too.
They'll suck it out and then you'll be living a cash life with shitty credit. And you do
That's
not
right.
want to live a life where you have to live on cash only because you're running from the fucking IRS. So
Okay.
remember,
So,
and by the way, Gary, sorry, that was
yeah,
20
no
years
worries.
ago, guys. 20 years ago.
Yeah. He's not running anymore. Actually, he's running too. You don't mind
Yeah.
him. The thing is that's a monster nobody has to face if you just take care of business and do the things that everybody sees it come out of their paycheck. It's a different world for some reason. When you work for yourself, you think you're immune to that, but actually what's even worse than a lot of people who just get a paycheck is when it comes to Social Security, it's
Mm-hmm.
15.25%, not that
Yeah.
7.25. The employer always pays that extra, the more than half
You don't
than you
realize
do.
that. You don't realize
That's right.
that the business is covering half of your payroll taxes. So
That's right.
when you're and that's good knowledge that most people don't know is that your employer is covering half of payroll taxes on your
Yeah.
behalf.
Yep.
So when you become a contractor, you work for yourself and you file your own taxes, you're like, shit, this
It's
is a
real,
little
don't
more.
it?
Yeah. You feel like you're paying more.
Yeah. So here we are. You are now older, and something must have clicked because you went from this kind of, computer guru kind of dude to junk removal. How'd that happen?
So, yeah. I've been honestly, Gary, since the age of 10, I've been programming literally. I started on little calculators, the TI-83 plus calculators, where you can write TI basic, which is basic programming. It's a little level of like assembly. Assembly's a little more complicated, but point is, I've been writing code my entire life and I had a lot of ups and downs, just like anybody else. Made 2.1 million when I was 17, blew it, spent it all. Made another 2 million, a little over $2 million again when I was 23, 24, 25 years old. And then I started building more apps. I got into blockchain way back then. And I've just always been on this up and down, made money, spent it. And I didn't have a father figure. My mom was pretty absent in my life. When you make money that young, all eyeballs were on me. I was like, I'm the cool guy. And it's just, I was on this up and down roller coaster until honestly 10 years ago, right? 7 to 10 years ago. And it finally, I had a kid and shit clicked. I'm like, okay, can't keep spending my money on Bentleys and Lamborghinis and mansions. So my last app failed. That's just part of life. And the reason it failed, I believe it would have succeeded if it wasn't for COVID. So I was working on this app for 2, 3 years. We were about to launch and COVID hit. Now let me tell you the app, Gary. It was a travel app to bring your friends together to travel across the world. Now, if you remember COVID, you could not hang out with your family, you could not hang out with your friends, and God, you could not travel across the ocean. It was almost impossible with all the regulations. Me and my girl went to Hawaii 1 year into COVID, and they treat you like terrorists, right? So you can imagine building a travel app to travel with your friends across the world kind of just pooped all over my idea, right? And I was pretty depressed. I'm not gonna say depression, but I'm gonna say I was really, really fucking. I spent 2 years building this product, and I kept thinking it's gonna go away. It's gonna go away. 3 months in, 6 months in, 1 year in, it's worse. We're at long COVID now and like triple COVID. And I finally had to give up. And this is the one time in life where I was like, whoa, I did not give up because of me. I'm giving up because I am forced to from outside forces I can't control. Like usually when you lose on a business, you could blame nobody but yourself, right?
Yeah. Right.
You can always take the blame. I didn't put in my full effort. I did something wrong. I fucked up. This was not my fuck up. I am like, no, the power was literally taken from me. I felt completely helpless, like I've just given my life to everything and they just sucked it out of me. And my friend was like, Andrew, and I think that's probably part of like what changed me as a person because I was a much different person before Gary. Like you would be blown away of the kind of person that I was before compared to what I do now. But my friend ran a junk removal company and I was doing my app thing and he was doing good. He was doing like 40,000 a month and he would always tell me about his junk removal company. And this is 2 years prior to my travel app. And I never listened. I was just like, cool, I'm going to be a billionaire from tech. And I never really listened. And I saw his trucks. I saw his truck and he had this little dump truck and I was just like, didn't register. And then 2 years later, he's like, Andrew, I used to run a junk removal company. He's like, you do some Google ads. This is 3, 4 years ago now, right? So Google ads, it was competitive, but not as competitive. And he was like, if you're willing to go pick up trash, Andrew, he's like, you can make $1,000 every day. And I was like, and this is during COVID. I'm abusing COVID. Abusing by meaning like taking all the free money that I can. And I had a kid on the way, a second kid with my lady, and I was desperate because what am I going to do? Go get a programming job right now? And I was like, I don't want to program. I'm too depressed. I just was programmed for 3 years and you guys just pooped all over my idea. I was like, and I needed money right now, because no free COVID rent. They stopped in California. They're like giving you rent free for a little bit for COVID, right? I was milking everything in California. So that's where I finally was like, okay, dude, Jason, I'll do this. And he told me what to do. He's like, Andrew, go post ads on. And I got on YouTube, of course, and I watched all of the Matt and JoJo videos. I came across, I'm pretty sure, how long you been posting on YouTube, Gary?
Not long enough. I think it's coming about a year and a half. And
I could have
Matt and Joe,
sworn, are you sure you
yeah,
didn't post 3 years ago?
I've been on other things. I'm a musician, so I have a music channel and some other things. So,
Okay.
but I like to call us. I was talking to, I think it was Lewis or might have been Julio, but I like to call us who have all come out of the Matt and Joni thing is Sonoma Strong Junk Babies because that's exactly what
Sonoma Strong's
they are responsible.
responsible for
God,
a
it's
lot
good.
of people.
Yeah.
So they were Matt and JoJo. I watched Steve Conroy, of course,
Yep.
lug away, but
Massachusetts.
Matt
Yep.
and JoJo were the ones that kind of like gave you that confidence because they were just so bubbly and fun and cute on the truck, and you're like, they just made it seem
And no
possible.
bullshit and no
Yeah,
bullshit.
and
Yeah.
they made it seem possible. And Steve Conroy was really good because he was a little more technical. I liked his technical stuff. He would show, and then Matt and JoJo. And anyways, I went and watched all these videos, and I listened to my friend. I was like, oh, okay. And my friend showed me his square transactions. He's like, one truck, $30,000, $40,000, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, this could be a real business. I was like, I can get into a tangible business, and maybe I can grow this and scale this. And what I did is I did exactly that. I did Craigslist, Thumbtacks, and Google Ads. And since I'm a tech guy, I built a website with 20 pages. I started SEO. I knew everything. I had all my ducks in a row. I had my Google My Business on day one. I got approved. I had a website with 20 pages. I built the website myself. I set up a Thumbtack profile, a Yelp profile. I had my Google My Business profile. I had everything set up perfect for day one. I ordered my
So what'd you
shirts, my
do the next day?
Huh? I know, right? It was so. Then I started posting on Craigslist. Like my first job was from Craigslist. Then I did Thumbtack. Then I did Google Ads. So I fell into junk removal out of pure desperation, and my friend suggested it. And my intentions were to always go back to my travel app, Gary. That was my intentions. I was gonna do junk removal, make some money, and get back to my travel app when COVID was over.
Yeah. Yeah. And you didn't.
I had a little bit of a course redirection. Instead of going back to my travel app, we'll talk about Autopilot in a minute. But a year into my journey, I decided to not do the travel app. And I'll tell you the moment, like the moment in time I remember it so vividly. It's so crazy because I was 1 year into my journey, right? 1 year into my junk removal journey. And I remember going, wow, I can scale this. Let's launch a truck after truck after truck. Not as easy as you think. Launching the second truck was hard. Like, it was really hard, especially because my first truck was an hour and a half away, my first location. But I remember I was launching my second truck. I was in Los Angeles. I left Ventura County to launch my second truck. I moved to LA, and I'm sitting in the steam room of the gym. And I have my phone in the steam room. Yes, Gary, I had my phone in the steam room because they're waterproof and you can never miss a phone call when you're paying for Google Ads,
That's
ever.
right.
So I had my phone in the steam room, and I did my thing, and I'm going through my phone. I had Workies at the time. Before that, I was in House Call Pro, and I remember in the steam room, wait, this app sucks, and I was like, I hate Workies. No offense, Workies, like you get the job done, but I was just like, I could build something better. And then I looked into it. I was like, this is $1 billion industry. I was like, that's where it's a big project to take on. But I was like, I can build something better. And it was that moment where I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this because this is more guaranteed to succeed than an experimental travel idea of traveling. Do you know how much harder it is to sell something to consumers than it is to sell to businesses? B2B, B2C. When you want to sell products to a business, they'll buy it because they need it to make their business better. When you sell to consumers, consumers are so much more skeptical. What's in it for me? Are you sure? I don't know. How much is it?
Too good to,
Businesses are
yeah,
willing
too
to
good to
risk a.
sound, yeah, too
Yeah.
good to be true. Yeah.
Yeah. So B2C is much harder it's a much harder world to play in. B2B is a much easier world to play in when it comes to technology, at least, and maybe even just in general. Consumers are always more skeptical than businesses.
So what made you sell Jedi? I mean, you're obviously making that $200,000 a year,
Hmm.
which is, you know, I, you were on the same podcast as me when Forget About It. Paul
Hmm.
had Richard on. He goes, you can't be a millionaire doing junk, and which I think
Hmm.
is bullcrap because you might never make a million, but if you take your money and roll it and use it,
Yeah.
that's how he built his $1 million ghost place. And so
Hmm.
I look at it and I go, that's all
I
BS.
and I also disagree. You can be a million. It's going to be a little bit harder, like anything, but there's plenty of people doing like stand-up guys has 15 locations. He's a millionaire. He's doing 9 million a year. I can
Yeah. And
guarantee even
those
at
and
low.
those junk teens are going to be millionaires when they're
Yeah,
said and done.
Lee Godbold, millionaire from junk removal. Lee Godbold
Yeah.
for sure, millionaire from junk removal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So wait, well, hold on. Sorry, what was the question? I
Why did you sell that and your
Yeah, that is a
lucrative?
question I get a lot. Not, and I made a video specifically on this question because that is the big question. And Russ Berry actually just posted on my profile today. And I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to but he was like, he posted on my profile today saying some really mean things to me, like a big old bully. He wouldn't have sold his company if it was doing well. Okay, so I want to. This is a good question. Why
Stop.
would I,
Wait a second. What's the hard on with him? Because
dude?
he's also attacked your autopilot.
But
I
yeah,
don't
yes.
quite understand that. What is
So
going on there?
to keep this a respectful podcast so that you can post this, I'll tell you the beef in a PG way. Him and Ricardo were fighting a year ago, and I made a funny joke on starting a boxing match, and I made a photo of them boxing each other, and he got very mad about that, and he told me to take it down, and I said no. And now because I said you guys need a box. It was funny. I was making a joke, but a year later, he now bullies me, literally like high school bullying. But I'm almost 40. He's 50, and I'm a 40-year-old. He's a 50-year-old, and he's bullying me. So I just ignored. I try to be the bigger man, but usually it's funny. But today he did get under my skin, and he did really upset me today. But I will say it's not this point. It's not the whole like your Jedi. He said some other really mean things, but we don't need to go over that. So that's the hard on. Russ Berry, if you ever watch this podcast, take a chill pill, bro. Let's have fun, right, Gary? Like, let's just. Anyways, so what he
That's me.
asked, he said what you said, and a lot of people ask, Andrew, why would you sell a company that's making 200K? Now, I was still technically the operations manager. I tried to hire an operations manager. Gary, you know just as well as I do, even if you were off the truck, you know that you're going to be managing phone calls. Even though I had a call center, there's always something going wrong. I tried to hire ops manager, but there was always something. Andrew, hey, the credit card's not working. We need a higher limit because we've exceeded $500 today. I have bad credit. Fucking my credit limit was $1,000. So we were like, and then we'd have to reset. I can't get approved for gas cards. Flat, the tires go flat. I have 2 locations. I got to go up there sometimes. The ops manager needs off 2 days. So I tried to have the business run itself so I could focus on autopilot, but that was impossible. Running a 2 location business, even there was not enough margins, Gary, for me to get an ops manager and an assistant ops manager to run it where I could just sit back and do nothing. You need at least 5 locations to sit back and do nothing and to truly sit back and just collect. You need to have higher margins. So $1 million in gross revenue does not justify me sitting back and doing nothing, right? So I was always hit up with Andrew, payroll, Andrew, flat tire, Andrew, truck's broken. And I was like, I cannot focus on how can I build $1 billion software company if I'm still dealing with this bullshit over here? Like it did not just, there was no way. And I was constantly distracted, constantly stressed because I'm not involved in junk removal anymore. I'm trying to step aside and let it run itself. And do you know how stressful that is when you step aside and you just hope it's doing okay? No, it's really bad because there's no true CEO running Jedi junk removal. I'm just hoping my employees are running it. That does not work until you have like 5 trucks where you can have a real COO, an operations manager, run it for you, and I could collect because there's enough margins. However, you get where I'm going with this.
Well, I do actually. It's so I've worked for myself for 35 years. So I used to, I worked at high tech. I've worked for a city, municipality,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm one of those people that was born to work for myself, and not everybody is. Because when you create a business out of nowhere, Andrew, you know this, you are not just the CEO, you're the chief bottle washer, you're everything else in the world. And
Exactly.
this is I don't know if you've even seen this, but this book here is fantastic by Kevin Hess. Yes, sir. And exactly right. This guy is giving people that lift, but it takes an immense amount of not just physical effort, but the brain power. You have to switch. So here you're thinking autopilot, 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 but you're at the same time, you have to focus, focus, focus on business. You got a flat tire. So and such didn't show up. I've got to man this. I've got to do that. I've got to make sure the schedule is in 2 different places. Those are things, and then you got to make sure the customers are happy. You're running things that can get out of whack in a moment of time. And if your heart's not in it, because it sounds like you went in it to stay afloat and make money.
Right.
And so this is your passion. So it
I
doesn't doubt me at all. I can see why.
I enjoyed the process of building this new tangible business, right? I was like, it was a thrilling experience. But after 2 years, my heart started to go back to I'm not a blue collar operations manager, right? Now, there are plenty, like there's a dime a dozen of blue collar billion like millionaires building painting businesses like you can take junk. It doesn't matter what blue collar business it is. If you enjoy the passion of blue collar operations, you can make it a multi-million dollar business. After I hit that $1 million, and after 2 years of running operations and trucks and maintenance, and like you said, dealing with customers in person, and my heart started to go back to the computer, right? And however, junk removal saved my life. And something you mentioned earlier that I have to stress is mental and physical. I say this all the time. Autopilot tech is all mental. There's not a day in my life in autopilot that I have to deal with a person and customer yelling at me or lifting a heavy sofa. There is no constant switch between mental and physical, right? You do 18 hours or 12 hours of physical labor, then you got to go home and do some mental gymnastics on how do I do SEO? Let's Google my business. Oh my God, I got an angry customer and I got to, like, there's this massive, insane respect that I have now for this whole, the blue collar, building a blue collar business is the hardest thing in the world. And it is so hard because it's a different type of hard. But like growing a tech business is more like, okay, I got to get thousands of people to use my software or I'm a failure, right? That's it. It's hard. It's hard in its own way, but nothing will ever be as hard as what I had to deal with getting customers angry at me and like figuring out how to. It's an insane world, man. It's insane.
So I was talking to Kevin about this the last podcast, and that is blue collar people are different. So I've worked in high tech. There is no water cooler moments. There is no
Mm-hmm.
decorum. When you're dealing with blue collar people, it's in your face. It is, non BS. It goes from the construction to the plumbing to junk removal, contractors, you name it. These people talk real
Right.
plain and they want real answers real fast. They are on time crunches and they really have, in fact, I love it because it's colorful, number one, and you always know where you're standing
Yeah.
with a guy who is in blue collar.
I will say
Absolutely.
this. I'm going to tell you something, Gary, that you're probably not going to believe. Prior to my junk removal business, I used to tell my girl that I had social anxiety. I was always the guy, like she never thought I had social anxiety because I was always deep, like a good, like I generally have like a loud personality, but I was very timid and shy when, and sometimes I think anybody who goes into a room with 100 people that they don't know is a little, but there's some people who just, their personalities are just, you can't ignore, right? And I was very timid and shy, and I used to tell my girl I have social anxiety. Like I'd get nervous in situations. Junk removal, dealing with 5,000 customers. Well, I guess I didn't personally deal with all 5,000 because I eventually got off the truck after 6 months. But in those 6 months, I was so nervous for my first customer because you said this is in your face. Junk removal fixed my social anxiety. I don't think I had true social anxiety, but I was definitely more shy, more timid. Junk removal, it not only humbled me, but the interactions of dealing with 500 people, strangers, and having to smile and laugh and crack jokes and make them happy and deal with resolutions and pissed off customers, and it definitely made me a better, well-rounded person with people because I was a computer guy. Now you would
It's
never you
real.
you would probably never think I had social anxiety, but Gary, I was very oh man, I was a different person 4 years ago.
Yep. No, I would agree with you because when you're talking about money changing hands on a daily basis, people expect something different than dealing with. I was an Amazon seller for 7, 8 years, and that's easy. Your store never closes. You get a ticked off customer, you can fix it by sending them something free and,
You
just
did you
tickle
did
them.
you were in Amazon? You did Amazon stuff?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
FBA selling on Amazon?
FBA. Yes, sir.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. Pretty good sized store. And then of course, you know how Amazon is, it eats its own. So the whole thing is designed. They say, "Oh, we love our sellers," but in reality, they love a lower price.
Did Amazon launch an Amazon version of your product or did you get outbid by other people competing?
Outbid, and it's just really. And so what happens is when you're especially FBA, you rent every square milli-inch. I mean, everything is just dialed down, whether or not you have a book in there, whether or not you have a toy.
Mm-hmm.
They have it all diagnosed, and they know exactly. And what used to be able to sit on a shelf for a year and a half
Mm-hmm.
became impossible after 2 months because the rent would expedite, and
Yeah,
it would
it's
just you'd have to bring it home or let it go.
yeah,
So
I
it was crazy.
fun fact, 10 years ago I did FBA as well.
Did you?
Yeah, I
So fun
never
fact, I still own a t-shirt company with them. I still make yeah, I still do t-shirts.
did you, so you do a little bit here, the little
Yeah.
small
Yeah.
profit?
Yeah, a
Nice.
little bit, little bit. Yeah.
Cool.
It's fun. It actually hits my artistic side. Like I said, I'm a musician, and it kind of feeds that art side.
I see the guitar behind you, so I'm assuming you play guitar?
I play guitar. That's a bass, but I
Oh,
have
that's
a
a
wall.
bass? Cool.
I do have a wall full of guitars.
Do you sing too?
I do.
Songwrite?
I do.
You sing,
That's what I
songwrite, and
do.
play?
Yep. Yep.
Nice.
Uh,
Dude, I'm gonna have to come to one of your. Do you still perform?
I have. It's funny. So I used to quite a bit in Florida and did quite a bit of it. In fact, since I've been here, I haven't.
Dude, you're gonna have to do a jam session for me when I interview you.
Yeah. We'll see. Here you are. You've sorry, Russ, but here he is, uh 2 years in the making, and his business is successful because anybody who makes almost $250,000, but over 200, you're in the top 2%, my friend. And that's what people have this weird sense of what real money is.
Hmm.
But when you're clearing a couple of $100,000, you're doing better than most people that are on the planet, number one, and most people that are in America. You're
It's
in the
kind
top.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird fact because the top 1% is 4K a year. And then,
Right.
like you said, I think top 2% is 200K a year. It's kind of a weird, it's kind of crazy to think because, yeah, that is, and that's how much I made after, like, I took
That's what I'm
200.
saying. That was cleared.
That was
So
cleared.
that's what
Yeah.
you're paying your tax on. That's everything. And so you take this successful business and then you decide, all right, my heart's not in this. I can't do both. And I think this is the problem with a lot of people. And I'm just going to jump because I don't like when people question why somebody does something. If the numbers are there and somebody bought your company, then they found value in it. I've sold
Hmm.
companies before and I've never looked back and said, wow, I could have got this or I could have got that. All I know is that when people buy your company, that means they found value in it. And
Yeah.
that you can't ignore. And if they paid you $225,000, that's a reality and you can't undo that. Now, if they stole it from you and Russ must think that or whatever, then that's cool. Then they got a heck of a deal.
Yeah.
But
No,
if you're happy and they're happy, that's good.
I would say he semi stole it, but I'll explain why. My broker, this is through a legit broker, legal paperwork,
Sure.
contracts, everything.
Absolutely. It better be.
The fact that I guess the biggest thing is if you don't hit the 3 year mark, and you don't have 3 years of solid tax returns,
Sure.
buyers look at you skeptical. Why are you
That's right.
selling? And they already are like, okay, what's going on? So 3 years of tax returns are very important, right? So you get a less of a multiple of your revenue, of your profit.
And
So
with a thing that goes up.
yeah, up and to the right. So
Yeah.
if you don't have lots of tax returns and all this stuff, you're going to get a 1x multiple of profit. So I got 1x of what I make. Now, if I was 3 years in business, I could have gotten 2x. If I just waited another year, my broker says I probably could have got 450K, but I had to start autopilot. I was getting frustrated. I was irritated. I said, give me the $225,000. I will go make this $1 billion company. So to me, it was no, I'm not going to keep doing this and getting headaches when I could take $225,000 right now and go build a $1 billion company. So that was my mindset. So Russ can think whatever he wants. And the fact is, I interviewed the owner just 2 months ago, 3 months ago, one year later of him running Jedi Junk Removal, and I straight up asked him, "How's it going?" We talked. We even went to the Jedi Junk Removal parking lot, or the land that he has. Showed him and all of the trucks, and like I was like, "How's it going?" Clearly, Jedi Junk Removal is still, like so. The proof is there. It's just Russ is a hater with Haterade, and
That's too
he's
bad.
yeah he's very happy. The owner is very happy with the sale, and
And you're happy.
I mean, of course, I would have wanted double, but I'm very happy because now here I am with Autopilot, and I'm going to build a $1 billion company. I'm going to make it happen.
let's talk about it because
While you transition to that question, I'm going to
sure,
go use the restroom really quick so I can hear you, but or you can just
sure. No worries. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah, no worries. You pee faster than I do. Anyhow, I want to talk about Autopilot because I am a user. I am on your beta testing stuff and I've been on it. I think this will be my fourth month. And this month is when things really kicked in. And like I showed you, we've done things like most people I think that don't use a CRM. I have four of these. These are 3 years worth of customer information that I've kept over the years, and it's valuable. I was talking to Andrew about this, and it's really super valuable. And he was telling me about the power of a CRM and the things that he was going to do, and I kept adding it up, and then, so I jumped aboard. I think it was in November, so maybe this is my fifth month, and we started.
October, yeah,
Uh,
November, yeah, right after the October of Junk Expo.
Yeah, that's right. And so we jumped in, and Joanne has taken all that information that I showed and inputted it into the autopilot. Well, I'm a baby with CRM. I had no idea. See, I'm on the other side, Andrew. I'm a blue collar guy who just works,
Mm-hmm.
works, works. And these are the things that feed me. And but then I start seeing the power of a program like this. And it's little stupid things like I was sharing with the map situation. And then thank you for getting me through the messaging thing because now I can, hey, it's spring
Is
and I'm
that fine?
offering 10.
Is
Yeah,
that
it did.
finally working? Oh man, I know
It
that was a
is.
pain. So,
Yeah.
guys, real quick, to not to interrupt too much, if you guys decide to try autopilot, by the way, hey Gary, I want to real quick before I forget, I want to because I'm ADHD, I want to give you a code so when people sign up, you make money
Yeah.
because I we
Absolutely.
started a referral program, so maybe
Sure.
we pay per sign up, and hey, what's an extra $50 every time somebody signs up? Maybe you get 5 people. Anyways, what I was gonna say was, guys, the government is a jerk when it comes to text message approval. So, Gary, I think we have now got it down to a 5 day approval time. But when I was working with
Sweet.
you, there was a little bit. So, tell me it's working now, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, I haven't instituted it yet, but it said that it did come in and I'm approved, so that's cool. So this is the thing that all that information that was in a book was just information in a book. Now it's information that is going to go to work for Easy Go junk removal and how that works. And tell me if I'm wrong here because I'm assuming a lot here. But I can say, "Hey, it's spring and I'm offering 10% off. You want to clutter free your life? Give us a call and I can send it, right?
Absolutely. If you have that, you can literally right now go send out a text blast in 5 seconds to all 500. I don't know how many customers you have,
Thousand.
5,000. You can go literally, you can do it every quarter. You can also send out 1,000 emails every quarter. Gary, here's what you don't know, and I'll send you a video, is you can actually make a sequence so it goes in perpetuity forever. So let's
Sweet.
say you want to send 1,000 clients an email quarterly, a spring email, a winter, whatever, summer, spring. Let's just say emails, right? Because emails are harmless and it'll just do it forever for 1,000 clients. But let's say you also want to do a second sequence that does two text messages a year. One during the winter when it's slow, a Christmas special, and then another one for a spring cleaning special. Because you don't want to harass your customers too much with text messages. So you have a sequence that just goes in perpetuity forever for spring,
That's right.
for cleaning, and it just goes out. But then also, let's say you want to do another sequence for postcards on Christmas, and it sends them a postcard in perpetuity forever. So
Nice.
the postcard feature will be ready by the next Junk Expo. Right now, we can do SMS and text and email. So yes, to answer your question, Gary, yes, you can do that right now, but do that only when you're ready to do that because 1,000 people will get a text message from Gary.
Yeah. And well, I kind of actually, and I didn't know about the postcard thing because I really kind of like that because, I have customers from every walk of the earth. And, when you're thinking about them or whatever, and I don't think this would be spammy at all, but, happy Easter, happy 4th of July. Who doesn't like 4th of
Just create a
July?
sequence, just not even like saying hey, buy my shit, just uh,
No,
yeah,
we're here, but that tells them we're here, but it also tells them that,
you
hey,
care.
I care and happy Thanksgiving.
Yep.
those are things that you just those are I don't know about other people's company. I'm a very folksy kind of guy, and so I come across that way with people, and it gets really down to earth, and
Can I ask you a quick question while
that
we're on this
works.
topic?
Yeah.
So I had a customer make a request, and it was an interesting request. Somebody had an autopilot feature request, and actually I was like, oh, that's a good idea, but I don't think I'd ever asked for birthdays. But now that I think about it, he was like, Andrew, can you make it so you can put in client birthdays? And I was like, why? And he was like, I want my clients to get a postcard or an email or a text message on their birthday with a happy birthday and 25% off. And I was like, so I can make it so you can send sequences on birthdays. And I was like, that's actually a great idea. Now, me personally, I wouldn't ever ask for birthdays, but now that I know that, I could be like, every customer would be like, hey, if you're willing to give me your birthday, you don't got to give me the year, just give me your birthday. Every year, I'm going to send you a happy birthday and a 25% off. Take it or leave it, Mr. Customer. And I bet you 50% of the people would say, you know what, I'll give you my birthday. So every autopilot will, on the clients, the people who give you their birthdays, you can have it send them anything you want. Obviously, it'll say happy
I would
birthday.
do it.
Yeah,
I would do it in a heartbeat.
that's a good idea, right? So
Yeah, I actually, and if they say no, it's
if they say no, they say
everything.
no. If they say no, they
So
say
yeah. So this is business 101, okay? And so everything is all in how you approach
yep.
your customers.
Just be
You better,
honest.
and not only that, you have to be able to read what kind of people they are. And I'm blessed with that because I can tell whether or not somebody is an uptight type of person within literally 10 seconds of them opening the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, once you know that and whether you get along and stuff, you go, you know what?
Reading characters like one of your. I feel like
Absolutely.
one of my weaknesses is I trust everybody. I'm not a
Oh,
good reader of character. And that's is that one of your strengths? Are you a pretty
it
good
is.
people reader? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty. I mean, you seem like a good guy, but like I feel like I've misplaced judgment too many times.
Yeah, well, that's really easy to do, especially when you got money and you're a 20-year-old kid, and you look like Mike Tyson, and all the hanger-ons are just sucking.
I know, right?
They're like ticks, right? And they're just sucking the blood out of them, and they're getting fat, and Tyson's getting poor, and
Yep.
that's a reality. What happens to a lot of people in sports, or
Hmm.
MC Hammer. In fact, way back in my day, he had just a huge entourage of people just sucking life out of him, and he
Hmm.
didn't even know it because he was making so much money, and eventually he lost it. And this is what happens. You got to be able to read.
Yeah.
You got to be able to read the leeches, man, because
Yeah.
they're everywhere.
I will say this though, junk removal, dealing with as many customers as I've dealt with, has definitely increased my reading levels of people. That's
Yeah, yeah.
the thing about home service businesses, or just dealing with people. Like it really made me a better. Like I did physical that I've never done before, physical and juggling physical and mental. That was something I've never experienced. And then dealing with the massive amounts of people constantly exchanging in handshakes, exchanging money and talking, and then dealing with angry, upset customers and resolving that. And
Well, let me ask you about that because you've said that a lot, and I literally. Now, I didn't make $1 million either, but I've literally had a handful of customers, and I don't think they could feel these fingers of people mad
so,
ever.
so so it never really resolved around price. Like we were always upfront with pricing, always. But I want to say it has to be because I'm in Los Angeles. Do you want to hear a customer experience that I had? The last one that comes to
Why
mind.
not?
It's
Yeah.
wild. It's the most wild. Like I've had angry customers. One lady was mad because we couldn't get something out. We didn't have the right tools, and she was pissed off because we couldn't get it out. Right, and I had to say go hire somebody else. But the most memorable experience that I have was one of my most recent ones too. Like right before I sold the company, is it was right down the street from my house. This girl called. She was freaking weird. I listened to the voice recording, the call recording, and you could I was just like, she's probably drunk or high, right? Anyways, my two people go over there, my two guys, and I guess she's claiming she works at Google and she's rich and just whatever, whatever. My guys are like, yeah, she's got all this money and this is going to be a big job. And they take the couch out, and I don't know, something they say she just gets weird, like weird. and she asked for a discount. So they call me and I offer a 10% discount. And she's like, no, no, I want 20. She gets mad that I don't give her a 25% discount. I don't even remember how the discount came up. That's not the weird part. The weird part is when I said I can't give you 25% off, I was like, I will only do 10%, or I don't mind bringing the couch back upstairs and we can't do it for this cheap. I was like, and I didn't want to have to explain myself, but she claimed she
Never,
started.
never explain yourself.
So I never do, right? I stopped doing that after one time. I was like, they don't care. So she started screaming, and I heard my employees on the phone. She started, and she's in an apartment building, and she starts screaming, they're touching me. My employees start freaking out. She's like, dude, Andrew, we're not touching her. She's saying that she was trying to like not have us bring the shit back upstairs, right? She's trying to get away with the free. So my guys freak out because they don't want to get like this weird woman for sex assault or whatever. So my guys leave with the shit halfway. And this is like normal in LA. I have multiple experiences with like weird shit like this
Yeah,
happening in
but
LA.
see, all you have to do when weird stuff happens is literally do this.
I
And see, I'm not touching anybody. She's weird, and I need
Yeah.
help.
Pay the bill.
I'm gonna call the cops right now because this woman's gone off the deep end.
Yeah,
Because
that's
really,
true.
you
They
don't have
could
to
have just
put
picked
up
up.
with it. You don't have to put up with it. And go back to this.
Yeah, if
You
they're
don't
the
have to
weird one, if
explain your bit.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say yeah, if they're the ones in the wrong, just pull out your phone
That's
because
right.
at the end of the day, yeah, what
Yeah,
are they gonna do?
video evidence is fantastic. And back to this goes for any business. You don't explain to anybody. You don't have to explain why your prices are what they are. That would get old real fast.
And the customers don't give a shit that you have workers comp and W and pay. They
No.
don't care. They don't care. Like I
And
see
if
that
they
in the
want to
face.
hire yeah, if they want to hire the dude with the trailer who has no insurance and has no I mean, that's up to them. The reality is though, is that if he trips and falls, he can sue them
Right.
and their insurance. See, I'm insured, I'm bonded, I'm licensed. I can't go after them. I'm a contractor kind of guy. And so my insurance covers them and theirs don't cover me. And that's the
Yep.
way it is. So
I agree.
those people who do that really do take a lot of chances and it's not worth it. So let's get back to the autopilot because it's
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about autopilot, huh?
I really do. I want to believe in it. The more I'm on it, the more I love it. And I know it's in its infancy right now. And trust me, and you and I have gone around a little bit with little bugs and things like that. But you're real quick to fix them. You're on things, and it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people you got working for. I don't know if you got VAs in the Philippines or India or something doing it,
I
but
do. I do have VAs, but it's me and my business partner, and we have one contractor, so it's three of us coding, and then I have one VA, now two VAs helping me with like assistance. As far as the development team goes, there's three of
yeah,
us and one designer,
wow,
so there's four, and then I got two VAs, six, and I have my video editor that's seven. So if you want to get like all of Andrew Thompson and Autopilot, there's a team of seven.
okay, all
So
right.
yeah.
So I texted you the otr day because I'm really this is another strength of mine.
Oh, sorry, no, sorry, team of eight. We're a team of eight. I got one other. I got one other engineer who
You
also
keep
helps.
pulling these out of your hat. Where are you
Yeah,
getting these
yeah,
people,
yeah.
man?
So four of us, four from the Philippines and four of us in America.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. The Philippines are a good bet because they do speak English and
Yep.
they have and they're wicked smart.
Yep. Oh
I
no.
used to do them for the t-shirts. So the only
Yep.
thing I had a problem with the t-shirts, to be honest with you, and it was mostly the Indian artist, but I ran into it quite a bit with the Filipinos, and they steal art. And of course, I had programs that would switch them inside out and search across the web. And I go, do this again, and you're out.
Yep.
Yeah, because and then I would show both. This is your art, and this is somebody who is original. Don't do this again. And so that's where I had to. But here you are. I contacted you the other day because one of the things I want you to make it. I honestly do, because I think if you make it, then I get this massive, amazing program. Especially being a beta user, I get it. I get an imperturity, I
Yep.
mean, forever.
Yep.
And so I really want you to make it. But then I also asked you, I go, dude, someone like me who is tech challenged compared to someone like you, uh, I think every step for someone like me should have a 1 minute to 3 minute video. This is how you use Autopilot. And you told me something that I go, great. What was that? It's on the way.
So I have okay, so here is Gary, I got to tell you something, right? Do you know what UX and UI is? So in the design world, and honestly, you can apply UX to anything in life. So in computer world, tech world, app world, website world, we have something called UX UI. User experience, user interface. User interface is what color the button is, where it's positioned, and what the logo is, and what we're this app, Riverside.fm, everything we're looking at with the purple border, the purple buttons, that's user interface. User
That's right.
experience is how hard is it for me to hit the hang up button? Where is the share screen button? Where is the uploading? The experience. User experience in junk removal is the user experience world of what is the user experience with a customer? Do we show
Oh,
up
I
with a
love
credit
it.
card machine, or do we just take cash? Or do we have a good user experience?
Zell.
Do we
Yeah.
take everything, Zelle, credit card? When we show up, are we branded? Or do we make that the user experience? So UX UI is like the most important thing in the world when it comes to software, right? And
Yes.
anything. So the on what we call the onboarding process when you sign up for a are you an iPhone user or an Android user?
I'm a total I guy from,
Same,
I go
same.
back to 1984, my first Mac.
So you've been a Mac guy. You're saying okay. So I switched over to Macs in 2006 from Windows. Now, if you remember Macs, which you do, have you ever used
Yep.
a Windows computer?
Yeah. And
And
it's
it
like,
sucks. It sucks. Now let me tell.
it does.
Now I'll tell you. Now all the Windows people are going to be like, no, no, it's more customizable. It's more flexible. It does this. It has more
Here
features.
comes the UI part.
Here comes
Yeah.
the UI and UX part. For people who don't have the time or care, they want to be able to click a button and do the thing they want to do. And that's why Mac and iPhone is the iPhone setup process when you buy a brand new iPhone is so beautiful. You click a button, it's like, do you want to transfer data? And you're like, yes. Do you want and you just do you want to set up Siri? Even though Siri sucks, it's the one thing that sucks. But
Yeah. It does
the
suck.
onboarding process is beautiful. The user experience with an Apple product from open to finish. Yes, it's more expensive for all you Windows people. I get it. But the user experience feels special. Now, Gary, there is no user experience in Autopilot yet because we're in beta. Now,
Right.
in October, we're going to have this beautiful user experience with videos that you can click and watch. There's just no user experience yet because right now we're just building the core system. So,
So
Gary,
this is something I'm talking about. So you have the iPhone, and so do I. The Apple products have something that the Android, the PC doesn't have, and that is intuitiveness. There is something built into their product that
just
you intuitively.
call it UX from this day forward,
Yes,
Gary.
yes.
Every overpaid engineer and designer in Apple and they're going to call it these UX designers get paid millions of dollars to focus solely on user experience. From
So that's what I want to see with Autopilot. I
yes,
want to see where it's intuitive, where I'm going, okay, here's the schedule, here's the thing,
yes, Gary,
where they run, because
Gary,
these are all like sub programs within a program, and I want them all to be, because I'm like this is
Gary,
how I think.
you're hitting it on the freaking nail. You remember when I told you my secret sauce is coming? So
Yes.
the first step is me building the core system to compete with the big dogs. You got to be able to schedule jobs, send invoices, do all that. My secret sauce that is going to defy gravity, that is going to change the CRM world for home service companies, plumbers, electricians, junk removal, moving, cleaning, whatever, is going to be it's going to come down to UX. It's going to come down to the user experience because
Absolutely.
we all have the features. Jobber does the same shit. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Workies, they do the same shit. They're more expensive. Jobber. Now, where is the special sauce, right? What separates,
What I
what is
just
my,
said.
it's going to be what you just said is how do we bring it all together? Invoices, estimates, data, analytics, signing up, onboarding, blah, blah. How do we bring it all together so it's cohesive and it makes sense and it's beautiful? It's easy to follow because I want you one day, Gary, my goal with Autopilot is when you add a new customer, a new job, and it has this, you add your job and your customer and it says, Gary, do you want them to go onto the sequence? And you just say yes or no. And the sequence means this client in perpetuity will forever get quarterly like, and you don't even have to think about it. They're just going to get remarketed without you thinking about it. And it's going to be like, let's say you add a lead and it's a price shopper. Gary, this was a price shopper. Do you want this to be added to the lead sequence where we follow up with them for the next 7 days, to the next 2 weeks to make sure they were to go on to the lead sequence? And you don't even think about it. It just automatically sends those text messages on your behalf because the intuitiveness and the user experience is so beautiful and blah, blah. I can go on and on and on, but you get the idea. You get the
I do, because it's now I don't know what you do because you're like the Wizard of Oz to me, right? I don't know how Oz works, but the
right.
city works, and that's you. But I'm a resident because I now pay for
Mm-hmm.
Autopilot. And so what I want, because every day that I'm using it, I just started using the scheduling. My God, what a okay. Fantastic. The only thing I want is to do, and I understood what you were talking about, but the iPad, I like a
Right.
bigger screen. I'm old,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that old man. Yeah. So, but those kind of things can all be done. But every time I get into it, it's like, it does this, it does that, and it's in its infancy. I had no idea. And I think a lot of people don't. And they can get in right now for what do you say, 49.99?
49.99, and I would say we're almost on par with the billion-dollar companies that are charging $225 a month. We have almost the same feature stack. Like, and Gary, we're launching an entire phone system in 2 weeks. We're launching. You
Sweet.
don't run ads, do you? You don't do ads. You're all organic.
The only thing I'm running now are Facebook boosts. I used to run LSA, Google Guarantee,
So,
and I stopped that when I got my surgery and haven't done that. Actually, you know what I'm doing, Andrew? Just side note is I think I'm going to move my GMB. I got to be very careful, but move it to
ooh,
inside Tucson.
I
Yeah,
mean, I think it's a good move, and I have somebody you should talk to before you do it. So message me, and I'll link you up with him.
sure, sure.
And he's an
Well,
ex.
my SEO guy is Matt Moses, and
Oh, okay, okay, cool. If you
he's
want a second opinion, let me know. But yeah, I think Matt Moses knows what he's talking about, right?
yeah,
I've heard
he's my
good things
guy,
about.
man.
I've heard good. I've never
Yeah.
hired. I've never talked to him, but I've only heard good things about him.
Yeah, yeah. You'll never hear a bad thing from me. I think he's
Yeah, no,
an
him,
amazing
him,
individual.
him, and Lewis and
Lewis is
Ronnie. I've
fantastic.
heard good things about.
It's funny because Ronnie contacted me because I was on that podcast with you guys with Paul, and he had one of his guys because he's a good businessman. He's farming and stuff, and Matt has always told me, hey, if somebody wants to give you free information, tell them yes and send it to me. Let me see what they're talking about. I
Hmm.
can fix your website, this and that. He's going, yeah, I'm from, this and that. And I go, yeah, send it to me. And he calls me back and he goes, whoa, whoa, wait, wait, wait. We just noticed that you're with Young Spider and we like Matt, but yeah, we're not going to do that. And I go, okay, I figured that now because I'm just doing what I was told because Matt told me if people want to give you free information, let's take a look at it and see if
Yep.
they're right or wrong. So it's interesting. He's a good guy, but I want this thing to take off, man, because
Yeah.
it has changed my life as far as this guy with, you know, these kind of books. They're messy. Your handwriting gets all over the
And
place. You're writing the thing. It
and you're
changes
gonna be
everything.
and you're gonna be able to pull data, dude. If you actually input all that data, you're gonna be able to see how much money in your average job size for 2022, 2023, whatever you want. Like you're gonna be able to see all that data and how you've progressed over the years, and if are you
Yep.
growing? And
Yep.
there's just so much you can do. And by the way, guys, Gary is selling me really well, and I really appreciate that. And he's not
I'm not
a paid.
trying.
He's not paid.
No,
I'm not
no.
paying him. Gary's paying me, and there's gonna be more. Like Gary, you're gonna be grandfathered in when we have we have. I hope to see you at Junk Expo 2025. I hope to see you there again, even if there's no reason. Like you don't need more knowledge. Well, everybody can use more knowledge, but what I'm saying is, even for the networking, I'd love to see you there,
Sure. Yeah.
guys. Gary's. If you guys like what you hear and you want to try Autopilot and you want to help Gary out and give Gary, every person who signs up gives Gary $50. So
I didn't know that. So,
so
but
no, he didn't know that. No, but
definitely.
I started the
Yeah.
referral program yesterday. So Gary,
Okay.
I want you to go into Autopilot tonight or tomorrow. Go on the website, not the mobile app. Go to settings and look for affiliate settings and make a code. And I'm going to assume your code is going to be Gary, right? So, guys, if you want to use sign up, you cannot sign up without a code. So, if you like what Gary's saying and you want to try out Autopilot, use the invite code that he's going to create. Maybe he'll like put in the video description later when he uploads this. He might change it. He might want to put like Scorpion or Sub Zero or whatever. Most likely
Maybe Jedi junk or something.
his code will be Gary with two R's.
So
Cool.
check this out, because these are things that you will laugh, but for someone like me, my wife has Autopilot on her phone,
Mm-hmm.
so we use it together and they talk to each other. My computer
Yep.
is, they're all synced.
Yes.
And I know that's probably, basic 101, but from a guy who's moving from books to the world of this, I'm going, this is incredible, because I can not only sit in the morning, work on my big screen going, okay, yeah, 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 or look at your pie charts out of a smaller iPhone, and
Mm-hmm.
you actually see it, and all of this, it's very different. But that information on my computer is the same thing I got on my phone and my wife has on her phone. And this is a power. This gives you, and I'm not trying to sell you, I'm just seeing it through my eyes. This gives you a power that I didn't have 4 months ago.
Right.
It is actually enhancing every time I turn around. Now I have a whole data center of people that I've served,
Mm-hmm.
and we have all these notes that we wrote. We know what we made. We know what we hauled. We know all of that. And so, what I used to have to do when I had a repeat customer, and I'm blown away with how much repeat customers we had, because it's like, holy smokes, I bet I'm higher than the average.
Mm-hmm.
But what I used to have to do is I'd look at because I never erase people's messages. I leave
Mm-hmm.
them intact, and I'll go back and I go, of course, on the messages, it doesn't hardly ever tell you what we charge. And so I have to go back to these books. I don't have to do that anymore.
Yep.
I have a running information thing that I can add to it as I go. This is a power. This is a time saver. I don't have to run and go, where's that book?
So,
Okay, here's the book. What
Gary,
year is it? Etc.
you're getting me excited. I want
Real
to tell.
quick, you see this? I had
Yeah.
to go. So this color to the gray color to this color. This year's the gray color. Guess what happens in next month? We no
Nope.
longer use a.
That's awesome. So, Gary,
Yeah.
you got me excited, Gary. I'm gonna tell you a little something. I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek. If my competitors are watching, it's okay because I know I'm gonna have a better version of this. But
You sure you're going to want to do this? Let me ask you this.
let me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll leave out the secret sauce. I'll give a hint.
Okay.
So
Very
let's
good.
just
All
say
right.
this. So you know how you talked about your repeat customers because what I'm about to share, nobody's really done yet. But what I'm about to share, there's a lot more secret sauce to it. So what I'm about to share, everybody will be doing this when I do it. Surprisingly, nobody does this yet. I'm going to be the first. We're, whatever. If Workies wants to take it, they'll take it because I'm going to make it better. You know how you talked about repeat customers? Imagine, have you ever used a business phone call service like a Grasshopper, or have you always just used your own personal phone? You know, you've heard of it. A lot of people use Grasshopper, right?
Sure.
And
Yep.
Google Voice. Now, eventually, Gary, you might just be like, okay, I'm going to use the autopilot phone, right? So what's going to happen is Worky's phone, Grasshopper, Google phone, I built a system to where if it's a repeat customer and your phone rings, it shows how much money they spent with you, their name, the customer notes, their address of their house, photo of their house, and the Zillow price of their house. All right when you pick up the show. And it shows the previous job and the upcoming job. So when you answer the phone of Stacy, and you go, "Hey, Stacy, you're going to see all of Stacy's information while you're on the phone with her if you've served her." So for cleaning companies and landscaping companies and companies that have lots of repeat customers, this is going to change the game because you're going to see every customer notes. Maybe it says Stacy is mean and her husband's nice, and you'll see all these notes and the job. So our phone system is about to change the war. Like, I honestly think we're going to change the game with our phone
Don't
system.
forget to add. Don't forget to add whether or not they gave you a review.
Oh, oh, that's a good. Yeah, yeah. Did Stacy leave a review? So you could be like, Stacy, I saw you left us a review. Thank you.
That's right.
Now, Workies and Jobber and House Call Pro, they'll probably all copy that idea right there that I just said out loud. And when I launch it, they'll probably all. I don't know why that doesn't exist now. I've already built it. It's done. We're launching it soon. Why the fuck hasn't anybody else done it? I'm not a. I'm not Einstein here, but that's not even the secret sauce. It goes a step further, Gary, which I can't talk about on here. I'll
Right.
tell you
Right.
later because then when they steal that, then I'm like, okay. So, but anyways, yeah. So I have so many ideas, Gary. It's mind blowing.
Yeah. And then this is the thing, everything morphs and everything grows because in 2 years, face it, there are going to be new situations, new business transactional things. People may be paying with Bitcoin or XRP or whatever, all these different things. And we all need to be in the position of changing with that because and that helps us with the ability. I just wish that we had Clover on this thing,
So
which we don't.
I'm working on close. So right now, obviously, just got to mark the job paid on
Yeah.
Autopilot. But I am
Yep.
working on doing a sync, but that's not going to be until next year, unfortunately, early next
No
year.
worries.
But you take the payment Clover and you just mark it paid in Autopilot. But we're going to sync the two. Yeah.
I just thought of this too. This is another thing, guys, which I just used. See this here? With Clover, I can give them a receipt. That's great. I have customers asking me for invoices all the time, and I usually have to come home, type it out, make it. I don't only have to do that. I can do it from my phone right then and there and
Yep.
send it.
Long as you
This
add,
is, go ahead.
I was going to say,
Go
yeah.
ahead, say that.
If you add, what you should be doing is you create the customer, you add the items while you're doing the job. You could send an invoice on the spot. Is that what you're about to say?
Yep, yep. That's exactly what I'm saying. And so I have customers that are because in the area that I live in is mostly older people and the average age is over 80. And so people pass away. And so you have these executors of wills taking control of these estates. Well, they're spending money and they're going to want to be reimbursed. And so what happens is they constantly are asking me for invoices, receipts, right? And so instead of what I have had to do the last we just finished our 4th year. We're on our 5th year. We just started this month,
Mm-hmm.
our 5th year. And then what I've had to do all that time was come home, build it really crude. And now when I send it, it has because of your program, it has my logo. It looks professional. It looks really, really good, tight, and I can send it in different forms. And it is so powerful because now I can do it before I leave the customer and now it's off my plate. And that's the biggest thing is get these things because it's all about management. It's getting these things off of my
Yeah.
plate so I can get on to the next meal.
Yeah. Because if you, before, since you wrote it down in your pad, if they wanted an invoice, you'd have to open up Invoice Simple or whatever program. Then you have to re enter all of their information and then go through that process. But since all the information is already in there when you book the job, you just literally hit send invoice and you
And
choose.
it looks professional. This is the thing. I've even done paper receipts, but it's hokey, man. But now I don't, I just stepped up to got junk and junking. That's what I'm talking about because in the reality of things, do I want to be Fred Sanford and Son? Do I want to be the guy with the junky old truck and the gas leak? I mean, the oil leaking out of the motor? No, I don't. Actually, I want to show up with my uniform, my hat, my shoes, my pants, and look really professional. Talk to them like I know what I'm doing, and then at the end of the transaction, like I know what I'm doing. And this program, and I'm not blowing smoke up your skirt because I don't do that, but this program allows me to step up and compete with the big boys. And that is a fact. And it allows me to do it for $49.99, which, like I said, I've been doing since at the end of October. And me and my wife aren't going back. We like it. And it keeps getting better all the time.
Awesome. And I'm Gary, that means a lot to me because I'm about to blow your mind in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So
Awesome. I'm ready for it.
yeah, so Gary, I appreciate it. Like I know it was a big risk, I mean, I guess not a big risk, but it's nobody wants to add another freaking subscription to their life, right? So I appreciate you trust me, I'm every month going, honey, we got Hulu, Max, Netflix. We're always trying to cut subscriptions because it goes from $10 subscriptions and then you're like, wait, we have $300 a month in subscriptions? Holy shit. So I appreciate you like trusting me. And Gary, I
Well, this
promise
is
you,
a little different, but this is a little different than what you're talking about. See, this is also
it's
a
business.
business
It's business. Yeah, it's
expense.
different, but still,
And
we don't like
I would
those
I
subscriptions.
would drop it, but yeah, but I would drop it in a heartbeat if I didn't feel like it paid for itself. And just the invoicing and the ability on the mapping system that we have talked about off air, all of that, because before I'd type it in my book and then I have to type it in my maps. Well, now I just type it in my autopilot and then it scrolls down and it goes, want to navigate? Boom,
Yeah.
I'm on my way. And I don't, it's a time saver again. And I keep saving these times and I'm going, Gary, welcome to the 21st century, man. That's like,
Do
you
you
know,
use the status update when you're on your way to a job? Do you change it to on my
not
way?
yet, not
So,
yet.
did you know
This is why I asked you for those little bit of
I
those videos because
so
it's like,
there's
I am old,
you know
man.
what? I'm just gonna send you all the videos, okay? I'm gonna send you because
Cool. Oh,
I just haven't implemented them into the website yet, which I'm planning to here in the next few weeks. Like by October, when we go out of beta, it's gonna be all crazy. But if you choose on my way, it's gonna send your customer, hey, it's Gary from Easy Go. We're on our way. Like it'll give them a heads up. And we have so many other features coming where they can actually track your position. Like we have so many, like an
so
Uber.
I just thought of this and you should do this since you're an old, Tom friend.
An old Tom friend,
That
MySpace
yeah,
Tom.
you should upload a automatic customer that says Andrew Thompson. That way, when I blow a text out, you get it.
You know what I
Could you
should?
imagine getting 400,000 texts by the
Yeah,
end of the
you
year?
know what
Because this is going to go, yeah.
I love that. You know what I should do though is make it so every time. I should make it so when we all of us business owners are signing up, we can go find each other as friends on autopilot. We're all internal. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, all I know, but it's kind of cool because this is why I would go to the Junk Expo. And that is there's a camaraderie that is unlike any profession that I've ever been in. And so it's really a cool group of people. Yeah,
Yeah,
there you have your jerks. I think I disagree with Richard Hernandez all the time.
same,
I
same,
don't get,
100%.
but I think I'd like him as a human being because I can separate. I think I would like him. I
So
do.
there's something that I say all the time. Hey, hold that thought. Hold that thought.
That's okay. No worries.
Hold that thought. Hold on. Hey, honey,
Yeah, no
come
worries.
here. Come here.
I do believe that I would
Come
actually
here.
like him because he's funny,
Number
number
one,
one.
he
He
just
just
does
does
business
business
So
different
different
than
than
me.
I
me.
want you to say what you just said real quick so my girl can hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Richard
Richard
Hernandez,
Hernandez,
he
he
drives me
drives me
nuts.
nuts.
But what did you say about
Uh,
him? That you
I
I
disagree with
disagree
him,
with
but
him,
I
but I
think I'd
think I'd
like him.
like him.
That's
say
exactly
say
how we
say, say
feel.
no say like how much you
Okay.
that say what you say like yes
Yeah,
he's a good
yeah, that's
like
exactly
he's
how
a
I
great
feel.
person in person.
Yeah.
He's a complete.
Exactly.
Why are you shying me on camera? You can say. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. She's in a
I,
she's in a
I already,
I already got it. She's got her
she's
halter
in a
top
she's in
on,
a
man.
crop top
halter
right now,
top
so
on,
she's
man.
shy. But basically, what my girl says all the time is Ricardo is a troll online, but my girl loves him in person because he's a funny, nice, and he's a nice guy, but he plays a character online. So,
Yep.
and
I
I
think
will
I
say
would like
this,
him.
Ricardo, if you see this video, I absolutely disagree with the scratching thing. I will disagree forever with that. But other than that, he's a good person. Like, I don't care if I walked into somebody's house and there was shit everywhere. I'm still going to
I'm not going
treat
to
their
scratch
house
their
with
floor.
respect.
That's right. Because it's also habits.
You know, and
So
also,
if
like,
you,
what if everywhere in the house he hates, but the one thing he likes is that floor? You don't know somebody's psyche. He might think that one patch of grass, that
and he
one.
could be screaming that you're touching him before you know it, man.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? But
That's
yeah,
right.
so
Yeah. It just,
I
back to
appreciate
the
it, man.
autopilot.
I
Yeah.
really, I
Back to the autopilot. I really believe that you're going to build something good. I hope the, you're every day it gets better. And so I'm really excited to see where you take this, Andrew. I really
thank
am.
you. I appreciate it. And my goal is to, if you didn't know this, Gary, Service Titan is the enterprise version of this software. They sell to enterprise companies like HVAC, electrical. It doesn't multiple locations across the nation. So they're enterprise. They just IPO'd 2-3 months ago for $10 billion. Jobber is worth 5 billion. House Call Pros worth 2 billion. These are billion-dollar companies, and I'm excited. I want to try to do. I think I can build a billion-dollar company without screwing the little guy. And I can go on and on about the market and the stats and how much, but that'd be another 30 minutes. Well, maybe we'll save that for another talk.
The last thing, because it is getting a little long, but the last thing, are you going to have different entry points with this, or is it going to be just one and done, or is it going to be a level here, a level here, a level here, full Monty?
So there's absolutely gonna, if you're talking about pricing tiers, is that what you're referring to?
Yes, sir.
So absolutely, everybody who signs up now, take that, sign up now if you want to get grandfathered in because the pricing will go up. Now, to give an example, Workies charges $225 a month starting. Then if you want their phone system, it's another 50, so you're at 275. And then if you want all their other features, you got to pay another 150. Sales proposal tools, inventory management, all. So if you want everything Workies has to offer, you're at 500-ish dollars a month. If you want everything House Call Pro has to offer, they start at 180. But if you want all their other stuff, all their other features like phone calls and sales proposals and pipelines, you're paying another 150. So call it $300. At the end of the day, their max is 300 to 500, but it gets way more expensive if you have multiple employees. So I'm going to offer everything they have at $150. So our max plan will be 150 at some phone system, ad tracking, call tracking, marketing tools, sequence, like the list goes on, inventory management, asset management, all of that stuff we will offer at a fraction of what they offer. So Gary, yes, we will have a $50 plan, a $100 plan, and a $150 plan next, maybe January of next year. But we will never forget the little guy. I will always make sure to give the power that we have now because House Call Pro, the minimum package they have is $80 a month. And Workies is $225 a month minimum. Let's go back to the $80 House Call Pro. You are super restricted at $80 a month. Very restricted. I'm going to give you everything you need to run a successful business as a startup. I'm just not going to let you use the phone system. You don't need the phone system or ad tracking, but you will have full access at $50 a month forever.
Not if they do it now, though. See,
If
I
you do it
am
now,
grandfathered in.
if you do it now, you will get ad tracking, call tracking, phone system, marketing tools. You will get all of that if you
At
sign up now
$49.99
at 50 bucks
forever.
a month because grandfather people who get in early, of course you're going to get perks. You're going to always get
Yep.
perks. So yeah,
Yeah, because we're just a baby, so we're growing with you.
yep, you're
So
going.
we'll be Andrew Thompson babies now.
Yep, exactly.
There you go.
Sonoma babies and Andrew Thompson babies.
Yeah, I'm just a baby. What can I say?
Yep.
Hey, I really do appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
on and spending some time. And that might be my longest video, but it's all necessary, man. You're an
Hour,
interesting
almost
guy.
an hour and a half.
Yeah, interesting stuff. You're an interesting man, and I wish you nothing but success. Part of that is because I'm a bit selfish and I want to be able to use this program and grow with it.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Andrew. I
Thank you
appreciate
so
you, man.
much, Gary, for having me, and I would love to have you sometime. So we'll stay in touch,
Absolutely.
and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Yep. Bye
Toodles.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Are you there?